Okay, finishing up our afternoon media here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're pleased to be joined by Richard Childress and his two grandsons, Austin Dillon, who's driving the number 3 Advocare Chevrolet on Saturday, and Ty Dillon, who's driving the number 51 Wesco Chevrolet, both here in the inaugural Indy 250. Just a couple things. Austin's second in points in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, 11 behind Elliott Sadler. He was last year's NASCAR Camping World Truck Series champion, and this year he's the Sunoco Rookie of the Year leader in the Nationwide Series. He's captured that first Dash for Cash $100,000 bonus at New Hampshire. Ty Dillon will be making his second career start in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. He finished 10th at Dover earlier this year. Currently, he is second in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series in the standings there, and this is just his rookie season. Of course, the man in the middle, Richard Childress, is the man that puts it all together. Obviously, very, very proud of his grandson's career. But Richard has a very, very strong legacy of his own here at the Brickyard. He's got 3 wins with his drivers, including last year's winner of the Brickyard 400, Paul Menard. So, gentlemen, thanks for joining us. I'm going to start out with you, Richard. This is a special place, I know, for you and your race team, your racing organization. Had a lot of good memories here, but what's it like now to have 2 grandsons come and be able to watch them race on the big track here in the Nationwide Series?
I mean, it's really special. I remember coming here many years ago, even before we were racing here with NASCAR, and to had won 3 races here with our organization, and then have both these guys come up here. I asked them both what it felt like, and they says, I could see the smile on their face when I asked them. They didn't have to even say nothing, how special it was to be able to drive around and to be able to come to Indianapolis and race, because there is so much history, and they're making history themselves here by racing in the inaugural Nationwide race. So I couldn't be prouder to have both of them in this race.
Thank you very much. And Ty, talk about now you're making your second career start in the Nationwide Series. You're doing terrific in the Camping World Truck Series, but coming here, obviously the first time here at this big racetrack. What was it like out there today when you rode through, and what was it like when you turned some laps out there here earlier today?
It was a blast to make my second start in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and at such a historic track that the series hasn't been to yet. And we started off with pretty good speed.
He always tells us to turn off our phones.
That was calling and seeing where y'all at.
We started off with pretty good speed, and it just made the learning experience a lot easier on me and more fun and relaxing when you have the speed right off the bat. So I'm glad for the opportunity that Wesco gave me to be able to run this race and be out here and having fun.
Thank you, Ty and Austin. Coming in here, you're second in points in the Nationwide Series. You won one of those Dash for Cash bonuses, but what was it like for you coming in here for the big track here earlier today?
Oh, it's very special. You know, I got to experience Victory Lane with Paul Menard last year, and he was the one who took us around for our van ride today, actually, just to get around the track, and it was nice having a guy like him to look to for information. He was parked right beside us in the garage, and you know, our cars, we unloaded a little off today. My car, everybody else was pretty close, I felt like, and we worked hard and kept working. We needed all 4.5 hours of practice. I feel like we could use more still. It was pretty big learning experience for us, and Elliott was able to get his car very fast. I think he's got a really good car, and try and use him as much as I can tonight and Saturday before the race.
Thank you very much. We'll take questions now for either Richard or either one of the Dillon boys. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll start right here, front row here, and then we'll go to Bob, and then to Chris, and then to David, and then to Dave.
Austin and Ty, were you ordained to be race drivers, being the grandson of Richard?
Ordained?
Was it in the cards?
I don't know if, you know, we actually were able to, we were blessed that my grandfather let us play other sports. I played in the League World Series when I was 12 years old in 2002. So it was, we played other stick and ball sports early on, and I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player for the longest time, wanted to be. And we kind of got burn out on baseball and stop playing some of the sports and look toward racing. And Ty made the call to my grandfather about getting our first test. And when we got that first test, it's been on ever since. We ran as hard as we could running dirt late models, all kinds of different cars, and just trying to gain the experience level that we lacked. And it's been a very successful up until now.
Ty, you got anything to add?
Austin pretty much hit it on the nail on the head. You know, we were blessed with the opportunity that we have to have a grandfather with such a great race team, and to have the opportunity to be able to call him up and go take that first test that we had. And I think ever since that first opportunity, we've hit it running and given it all we've got, and we're still doing it today.
Let's go to Bob, and we'll go to Chris, and then we'll come up here on the front. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. For Richard, this is Ty's second nationwide start. I mean, how many more do you expect him to have this year? And was running him here in preparation for, was it part of any sort of plan as far as getting him ready for anything maybe more nationwide in the future?
Yeah, right now we're planning to run him here, Richmond, and probably Homestead. We're just pretty sure about Homestead. That's a little up in there, but right now it'll be those other two races. And next year, our plans is for him to run the full truck series like Austin did the second year, and run however many. He said he didn't care about the Rookie of the Year status. Just let me race. He'd rather race next year and not run for the nationwide Rookie of the Year the following year. Yeah. Okay, that'd be cool.
You can only run 7, right, Bob?
No, he can run. If he's not eligible for points, he can run 1 year as many races as he wants.
Oh, really?
Okay, that's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll take that under advisement.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Thank you, Bob.
There you go, Bob.
That's nice.
You just found the gray area.
Yeah, you did. There's a little bit of that. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, for either Austin or Ty, how tough do you think this track is in comparison to some of the other places you guys race at?
Well, I think it's very tough because it invites you into the corner because there's so much grip. The grip level is high. It's very smooth, and it's easy to overdrive. The Cup drivers definitely have a big advantage right now over most of the nationwide guys, where after our first run on, we're kind of fighting to figure out which direction we need to go with the adjustments for our race cars. They run their first run, and they know, okay, we got to loosen up here, and tighten up for the exit because in the race tomorrow, it's going to be freer. They already know what direction to head, and we're kind of out there still trying to find the line. And then once we think we got our line right, then we have to go in the right direction for the car. So that's why I said I wish we would have had a little more practice day. 4.5 hours was plenty. I'm glad they gave that to us. But to run against these Cup guys, it's going to be tough tomorrow to beat experience.
Yeah, I agree, especially this just being my second start in the Nationwide Series, so I still really don't know exactly how these cars handle in racing side by side with other cars. I know how the trucks are, and then when my one start at Dover is a little bit different than this place. So very tricky to learn. It's you come off 4 and you're heading down into 1, and it seems like it gets narrow and narrower, and by the time you're in the center of 1, that it seems like the turn's already over. You know, we'll keep trying at it, and we'll see what we can do tomorrow. These Cup guys are gonna be tough to beat, but we'll keep trying.
Let's go Claire, and then we'll come up front. Go ahead, Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Richard, do you remember when the Cup cars first came here? Your initial thought, your initial feeling when you came here, and then to come back now after so many years of the Cup cars being here, or the stock cars in general?
Yeah, I think we came here with Dale Earnhardt in 1993, and we had a test and looked at the track, and I just figured the brakes back in those days wouldn't make it, and as narrow as it looked, I didn't think these big cars could pass. But, you know, it's amazing what the technology in our sport has done since the first time we came here and testing, and to be able to come back, and Jeff won the inaugural race in '94, and we came back and won it in '95, and been fortunate to win some races. But it is a challenging racetrack. To me, it's a driver's race track. Takes a lot of finesse. How hard to drive? It's easy to overdrive, and traffic is really, really a challenge for all of the guys here.
You like it?
I love it. I mean, I absolutely love this place. And I know these guys do, too. After
You should tell them a story about this place.
Which
Testing with Dale and everything.
Oh, yeah, when I drove?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you got time to tell.
You
We,
might as
we
well.
were up here testing the very first time, and we'd raced New Hampshire and came over here to test as a 4-day test. And they were running, back then, they were running like 53 seconds after the tires wore down. And we were at St. Elmo's that night and had a little wine. And so I got faster as a driver myself, and I said, well, I can run in the 52s. And they bet me I couldn't, so I came back, and on the 4th day, I took Mike Skinner's car and went out there and run a 52.80 with it. By then, they were in the 51s, and I won the bet, and I won their wine.
Well, at least you didn't do it that night. Okay,
No.
That's good.
More you drank, the faster I got.
That's right. Go ahead, David.
David Carville at NASCAR.com. Austin Elliott was in here earlier talking about how much you're in the throttle here. Any shot that in qualifying trim somebody could keep it down the whole way around?
I think that 51.18 that Kyle ran had to be very close to it. He might be just barely unlocking it, but I think I'm there already, close to it. We're tight, and I think he's got his car pretty loose to do it. Yeah, I think you're going to see somebody go wide open for sure to get the pole or right at it, and then there's some people going to be touching that wall coming off the corner because you're just going to get a little bit tight. 3 and 4 is actually it's on the easier side to do it. 1 and 2, it falls off of 2. Off of 2, it falls off quite a bit. 4 has a lot of grip. So you'll be really good. I think 2 and 4 are the corners that you'll be wide open. Turn 1 and 3, I think you'll have to lift.
Dave Coleman, go ahead.
Dave Coleman, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Richard, a year ago, after the race, you were talking about that victory kind of helping validate Paul as a real race car driver, and you race any questions because you don't back into Brickyard. It's not like that unleashed a dam or anything. I mean, has anything changed for him since then? Did that really affect anything? Or, I mean, he seems like he's pretty close to where he was a year ago as far as recognition and success and whatnot.
Yeah, I think Paul's definitely there. I think as a whole in our company in the Cup Series, we'd run one. That was a 5th race that we had won when Paul won here. And we haven't won yet this year, and I think it's not the drivers. I think we got to get our program a little stronger, and we're working on it. We got some new stuff for here. We're all constantly reorganizing some things, and it's not one little thing when a company gets off or when a driver gets off with a company. Paul's every bit as good as he ever was. We got to give him better stuff, and he can win. He can win a lot if we get it to him.
Let's go back over here.
Richard is a little on a different fact. Watching Dale Jr. Finally win a race after that long streak and be up there, what are your thoughts? You saw him when he was young and everything, and what are your thoughts about what he's doing now?
Yeah, I think he's really on his game this year. Not that he hadn't been in the past, but I think he has the opportunity at a championship. I really think he can win a championship one day in our Cup Series. I've seen him go through the same legend cars on up through the same things that Austin and Ty's done and be able to reach at the Cup level and have the success he's had. I really think that this could be his year to be there. This sport is tough. It's probably the most humbling sport that I could ever dream of being involved in because you'll be great and all of a sudden things will start to trickle away and you can't put a finger on any one thing, and it's always a lot of little things that people will say, well, where are you missing? Is it the engine or is it this? It's never one thing. It's a lot of things, and I think that was some of his problem before. It was a lot of little things. The whole Hendricks group is probably the best of all of us right now, and you'll get there and you'll go like this. This sport, you got your peaks and valleys, and it's how you handle your valleys that'll get you back to your peaks.